Hello, welcome to Channeling with Charlie. On today's episode, I just want to talk about a little bit about channeling your energy during these hard times with COVID, isolation, and maybe you're out of work, maybe you're still working, and you don't feel comfortable with working because of everything that's going on. Currently, myself, I'm currently working. I wish that I was in a better position where maybe I could take some time off and really stay safe in my home. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So if you're someone that is, still working or even staying home, how do we get through our days? How do we get through our days without feeling overwhelmed and feeling like there's just all this pressure on us because of worry and concern? I like this video to be about just channeling that energy in a more positive way. And I can only tell you my experience. Once again, I'm not a spokesperson for, light work or Reiki or anything of that kind of community. These videos are just my experience, and from my experience and how I try to go about my days. And from my experience with this COVID experience that I'm going through and that we're all going through, is that, like I said, I'm currently working. How I get through my days on a daily basis with having that anxiety and that concern of will I get sick, is that I usually wake up early in the morning. Usually a day for me, my morning routine starts at about 4 a.m. I usually wake up. I try to get into the shower. If I haven't took a shower the night before, I try to take a cold shower. Something about the cold water really shocks my body, really makes me feel alive and gets all my organs awoke. After a cold shower, I usually get out the shower and I try to hydrate myself. I take in some water, usually a couple glasses of water, and usually I follow that with, some type of breakfast, nice, important meal of the day. Start my day with a hearty breakfast. Usually that consists of some oatmeal, toast, eggs, sausage, really, fuel my body. And after that, I usually take the next 15-20 minutes to meditate. I usually sit here in front of my shrine, and I light an incense. I light a candle, and I try to focus. I try to sit with myself and keep it in the moment, and through that, I'm able to channel what's important in my life, and not try to worry about what's going on around me, and really listen to my body, listen to my mind in that very moment. At times, my mind may wander, and that's okay. A lot of times people think to meditate is to turn the mind off, and that's not the case. From my experience and from some of the research I've done is, through meditation, it's learning to listen to your breath and also learning to be comfortable with that static in the attic, if you would. Be comfortable with those thoughts that may come in, and just learn to sit with those thoughts without trying to get into that, that thought process, or to really focus on what you're thinking about. So I usually do that. I usually sit down, I meditate for, like I said, 15-20 minutes. I try to. Sometimes I'm not that successful. Sometimes I can only meditate for 5 to 10 minutes. And finding some acceptance in that, not feeling like I'm a failure, just feeling like, okay, today was less of a session. Hopefully tomorrow will be a longer session. After a meditation, I usually, while I'm still sitting on the floor, I will try to stretch. I try to do some leg stretches and some core stretches, just to feel loose and feel like I'm not so tense. After that, I tend to get up, get dressed for work, feed the cats, and pursue through my day. Through my day, how I keep myself grounded, and how I keep my energy channeling in a more positive productive way is staying focused on what's more important and what's most important. And what's most important through our daily lives is that what are we living for? If I consist of my days of being surrounded around worry and being anxious about what's going on around me, from diseases to negativity, then I'm doing a disservice to my soul. I have to feed my soul in a more positive way, or I have to feed my soul in a way that is beneficial to me and those around me. Because if I'm not well, then I can be very negative, and I can be very a disservice to those around me, because I'm just not a fun person to be around if I'm miserable. And I think it's very important that we take the time through our day, if we start to get off that track or off that beam of finding ourselves distressed or diseased, anxious, to take that moment, and however you want to take that moment, rather through prayer, through meditation, through counting to 10, whatever works for you. There is really no right or wrong way. I know, there's all these different things on the internet, and that state, in order to, rebalance yourself or reground yourself, you have to do this or you have to do that. But, by all means, and I say this a lot, please show me the rule book or the guidelines to life. There is no book, there is no guidelines to this thing called life. It's an experience that we're all going through. We're all figuring this out as we go. Maybe counting to 10 may work for this person, but it might not work for that person. Meditation might work for this person, it might not work for that person. It's all about finding what works for you. Like I said, it's all about channeling, channeling your emotions, channeling your energy, channeling your thoughts through a more positive way, so you're not going through your life miserable. Because, who wants to be miserable? I guess at the end of the day, we all just want to be content. Happy, that would be nice if we can just stay happy, but I don't think that's possible to just stay happy all the time. And if you really think about it, who wants to stay happy all the time? Because then, if you don't experience bad, you wouldn't know the true joy of happiness. But getting back to what I was saying about just channeling your emotions and channeling your energy throughout the day without concerning yourself with too much worry and being anxious, is that if you're going through your day, whether you're at home or you're at work, and you find yourself feeling diseased or or uncomfortable, take a minute, like I said, through prayer or meditation, or whatever you find works for you. If it's listening to a song or going for a jog, whatever works. Going to that place that that helps you remember better times, better days. And to remember what's more important, and what's most important in life is these moments of joy and happiness, these moments that matter the most. And instead of staying in that fog of wow, things aren't going good right now, try to find a way through that, to remember what we're living for. We're living for a better life. We're living for happiness. We're living for joy and content, to be content. And like I said, for me, I can only tell you guys my experience. And my experience is I tend to meditate. That's what really works for me. That, and lately I've been including yoga into my routine, because our body holds a lot of stress. And I find through yoga, it helps me relieve myself from that stress. It helps me to loosen up my muscles so they're not so tense, because we carry a lot of stress in our bodies, in our muscles, in our tissue. So I find that, like, if I start to get negative throughout my day, rather negative thoughts, or I start to get anxious, or I start to be uncomfortable with maybe something that's going around me, I'm starting to worry about, am I going to catch COVID, or maybe my boss is not being nice to me, or maybe a loved one's not, being too supportive of me. Instead of really focusing in the moment of, like, oh man, my life sucks, or this person's being mean, or whatever, to really find, like I said, find that way of channeling through that. And, like I said, I'll give you an example. My boss sometimes can be, very stern and not supportive, and can be very mean. Now, if I wake up every day and I go to work knowing that my boss is going to be like that, I can go to work and say, screw him. He's just going to be mean to me anyway, so I'm not going to be nice to him. I lose at the end of the day because now I carry this negativity, this resentment towards this person. And work is one of those places that we go to, we spend most of our, or a lot of our time at, rather home or at work. So to be in that atmosphere, to feel that stress, it's really not good. It's really not good for our souls. So like I said, I try to tend to find what works, and I find what works for me is to pray for that person, to meditate, and to keep it in the moment, and have a better outlook on things. I can't change my boss, I can't change who he is, I can't change how he treats me. I can change how I react towards it and how I channel that energy. I don't have to fight negativity with negativity. I preach a lot, especially on my social media account on Facebook. I preach a lot about love. With a little bit of love, it goes a long way. It really does. And when my boss is not being fair to me, kill him with kindness, kill him with love, kill him with compassion. Pray for him. Not let that bother me, not let that affect me. And it still does. I'm only human at the end of the day. We're all only human at the end of the day. And some days will be better than others, but the growth is in the willingness to want to be better, to want to change, to want to channel ourselves in a better way, in a more productive way, where we can, go through, channel through our lives and flow through our lives, and try to find that ultimate enlightenment, that nirvana that we hear about. And like I said, for me, when my boss is not being too fair, I might take a moment to step into the restroom and, maybe meditate, or maybe just say a prayer for them, because, I feel bad. I feel bad that, someone like that will go through their lives just being mean to others and stuff, when life is just too short. Life is way too short. And, but unfortunately there is people that are miserable, and we don't have to live like that. I strongly believe, and I say this a lot, I strongly believe that our pain today is self-chosen. A lot of the times we find ourselves in positions where we don't understand why we're in these positions, but if we really think long and hard, many times we put ourselves in these positions, and it causes, concern, or being uncomfortable or being anxious. But we don't have to live like that, and the Buddha says, life is suffering. When they talk about the Four Noble Truths, life is suffering, and we don't have to suffer. We can be relieved of the suffering by deflation of ego, and in ending craving. A lot of my craving is caused from my need of needing things. I need a new car, or I need a new pair of shoes, or whatever. I don't need a name brand pair of shoes, as long as I have 8 pair of shoes. But not to get too much off topic, just once again, getting through our day in a more productive way without letting things dictate our happiness. And like I said, we're not going to do it perfect. I don't do it perfect at all. But I try, and I try again, day in, day out. I wake up in the morning time. I start my day with a more positive note. And through the meditation, my morning meditation, through my morning rituals, I try to prepare myself for the day to come with a more positive mindset, with a more a mindset that has some potential of growth, with a mindset that is that prepare me for whatever may come through my day. And don't lose sight of that. I can sit here before you, and I can meditate, and then I can walk out the door and someone can cut me off on the highway, and I can easily give them the finger, and there goes my serenity right down the drain. Or I can meditate here and go out in the world, and someone can cut me off, and I can just think to myself, what are they going through? maybe they're rushing because they're getting to a loved one that's sick at the hospital, or maybe they're late for work, and maybe, if they're late one more time, they'll lose their job. I try really hard to have that type of mindset, to have that mindset of acceptance, awareness, understanding, because through all that, through everything I just said, it's channeling myself, channeling my energy, channeling my emotions in a way that at the end of the day I can benefit from. At the end of the day, no matter what may happen throughout my day, as long as I went through my day, channeling my energy in a more positive way, at the end of the day, when I put my head down on the pillow, I can have a sense of pride, that today was a good day because I didn't have to hurt anybody. I didn't have to be mean to anybody. Even if I didn't physically show love in some way towards an individual, just my good intentions of not producing hate or inflicting hate on anyone, rather through my words, through my actions, through my intention, that alone is good enough. And like I said, it's all about that balance. It's all about balance. It's all about channeling our emotions, getting through the day, just one day at a time, 24 hours in a day, getting through each hour, sometimes, 1 minute at a time. Sometimes it literally is 1 minute at a time. I can be really anxious or full of negativity in my mind. And in the moment, I want to lash out in anger, lash out in hate. What's important is to have that awareness on where this is coming from. Where is this hate coming from? Where is this negativity coming from? And many times it's because I don't have acceptance with myself. Rather, I suffer from one of the 7 deadly sins of jealousy or envy of another person. And I don't have to live like that. It's like, once again, bringing it back to what's important in life, and what's important in life to you. And if you're watching this video and you'd like to, share that with me, I'd be greatly appreciated. I appreciate if you can like this video. I'd appreciate if you can leave a comment on, what you're living for. What truly gets you up every day? What truly motivates you to get through your day? Is it your kids? Is it a new car? Is it a new way of life, a better way of life, a more positive way of life, a way of life that is not inflicted on hate and negativity? Hopefully you're channeling in a positive way. Hopefully you're channeling in a way that will be fit for you at the end of the day when you put your head on the pillow, that you are comfortable with yourself and proud of who you were throughout your day. Because once again, I say this a lot, there's so much hate in this world, and it doesn't have to be. We can love. I don't understand why we just can't love. And I get so emotional just thinking about it. Just because life is too short, and we're all seeking the same thing. We all just want joy, we want content, we want to be content, we want happiness, and we can start with one another. So please keep loving. And that will wrap it up for this video. I try not to make my videos too long. Sorry I haven't posted in a while. Life has been hectic with the COVID, and still working through the process of trying to stay safe and stay masked and gloved up. But thank you guys so much. Once again, please like, please subscribe, please comment. I would love some feedback. And thank you for channeling with Charlie.